So do you consider yourself an OG? Because I think you started before I did.
One of the things that I noticed with you, just to go into strategy a little bit, is you're one of the only players who puts the finger on the handle of the paddle.
Yeah.
What did that come from? And what do you think the advantages are? Welcome back, everyone. I'm thrilled to announce today a true pioneer in the sport of pickleball, Dekel Bar. I remember when I was 11 years old playing in my family's Triple Crown tournament, and he was like a 3-5. He was hitting with Collin, had no clue what pickleball was. It was his first time on the court. And now, fast forward to today, he's ranked 8th in the world on the PPA Tour, and he's amassed a ton of accolades and created a bunch of success on and off the court. So today, we're going to talk about a few of them. And if that wasn't enough, he's also a savvy entrepreneur. He started Pickleball Getaways with Ben Johns, one of the first pickleball getaway companies where the pros are not only the face of the brand, but also the driving force behind it. He also started Pickleball 360, a virtual instruction platform with Ben and Collin Johns. Join me as we dive deep into Dekel's journey, talking about his success in the sport, longevity in the sport, creative process for his new signature paddle, as well as tapping into the business side. Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome Dekel Bar. Dekel Bar, I still remember when you were a 3-5 at my family's
3-5.
tournament. Yeah, when I think it was your first time playing, stepping foot on the court at my family's Triple Crown when I was like 11 years old.
So I probably played like 10 days at that point.
Yeah, and overall, you were actually like a 3-0, 3-5. You were probably the worst player at that tournament. But yeah, fast forward today, and Dekel now ranks 8th in the world according to PPA rankings, and has amassed a ton of accolades since then. He not only has remained on top of the sport and the pro scene, he's also tapped into the business side. He started Pickleball Getaways. How long ago?
About 6 years now.
6 years ago, he started Pickleball Getaways, and that was the first getaways, not only with pros driving being the face of the brand, but also driving it behind the scenes. As well as that, you also started Pickleball 360 with Ben and Collin Johns, and we'll get more into that later, but that was the first, was it the first?
First what?
Instructional subscription service for
I don't
pickleball?
know. I don't think first. No.
Okay.
No.
But it's definitely, I'd say probably one of the most well-known, and we'll talk more about that. But so you're definitely multifaceted. You've remained on top of the sport for a while, and so thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
That's quite the intro.
Yeah.
I'm still a little bit upset about that 3-0, 3-5 comment, but we'll let it slide for now.
So, we'll let it slide, but we're going to go straight back to it.
Yeah.
Starting out at that, you played tennis, you played high level.
Yeah.
Did you play pro tennis? Were you on a circuit?
Yeah, so I played pro tennis. So I played tennis since I was 9. So I played pro from like 17, 18 till 24-ish. And then I quit tennis. I had a bunch of injuries that kind of forced me out. I started school in Israel, but I already knew. So I knew Collin Johns from the tour. We traveled a lot the last few years of our tennis. Probably like from 20 to 24, something like that. The last few years, and when we were down with tennis at about the same time, and Ben introduced both of us to pickleball. We played a tournament in Atlanta that same year of that I met you in Triple Crown. Then I went back home for a couple of months, so I played that week before the Atlanta tournament, and then my next event was in the summer in that Triple Crown at your family's place. So you guys were nice enough to host us and so many other people. Like I think like freaking 20 people in your house. I remember me and Collin when were on like cots at your in your living room, and Adam Stone was on the couch there. So that actually helped me a lot to I was talking to Adam how we partner in the future. So no kidding, we just became friends there, and yeah, it was really fun.
No, like thinking back of that tournament, we did literally have like the full-blown Avengers assembled under one roof. I mean, it was crazy. We had you, Ben, Collin, Kyle. We had Adam Stone, Wes Gabrielson. Oh my gosh,
There's so many more. Yeah.
We had everyone. But yeah, so what was your turning point to realizing like, oh, pickleball can actually be something more than just a recreational sport for you?
I don't know if there was like one instant that it happened. At first, it was just, oh, this can be actually something that. At first, I started just to have my competitive, like, itch filled with it, just because I didn't play tennis for like a year, and I wanted to play some tournaments. Um, so I was like, this could be cool if I can get some like minimal sponsorship and get to just the US, like so they can cover my flights or something like that. And then slowly it became more and more like, oh, this is can be a real sport. Maybe I can, make something out of it. Never did I think it would be where it is now, not even remotely close.
Yeah.
So I think during COVID, that's where I started playing more because I was stuck in the US. I came for one of our getaways trip and a tournament. I kind of combined the two. So that was in March 2020. And then I was stuck here after for a few months. And then I played so much pickleball. You could, it's one of the only things you could do outside, really. It also depends where you were.
Yeah.
I improved, and it was fun, and I decided to stay for a while because school was still online for me. And then you could see the tours starting, right? That's when PPA and APP really started, and things slowly got bigger. And you're like, oh, this can be legit. And I got my first like legit like sponsorship. It was Engage at the time. So I think that point I was like, okay, I'm staying in the US for this because it can be something big or
Got it.
something that I can make a living from.
So how many years till you hit that first endorsement?
So I got my first small endorsement with Paddletech/Prince at the time, and I was with them for 2 years, but I was mostly in Israel during that 2 year period. So I was flying back and forth just for tournaments during my school vacations. So it was like a good enough to cover my flights to here.
Got it. Yeah.
And then after 2 years, I got my engaged sponsorship. After I made some better results and established myself a little bit more in the sport, and also the sport grew and there was more money for the paddle companies to spend.
Mhm.
So 2020. So after a couple of years of
Got it.
being in the sport, but I wasn't here that much.
Got it. Yeah. And now I love asking OGs this question, and there's not many OGs to ask anymore. But what are some of the biggest changes you've seen in the sport back then compared to now, regarding anything in the sport, the business side, the strategy, anything?
Okay. First of all, do you consider yourself an OG? Because I think you started before I did, but like you took like, I don't know, like a 5 year break.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
No, I do. I still lose sleep on it. Like now, less sleep I lose, but
Okay.
I mean, when I was first getting back to it, it was like, why?
I
Like,
should
why
have
did I
kept
leave?
playing.
Like, my parents absolutely for not letting me just like not,
Forcing you to keep playing.
forcing me to play high school basketball.
Terrible parents not forcing you to do stuff.
Yeah. And now we're starting to see like the first wave of kids that are actually like homeschooled.
Yeah.
At least like, I'd say on both tours, we see kids now that are like 16, 17, 18 that are just doing this full time, homeschool, just blowing off school. I mean, homeschool, I don't even know, but yeah, what would you say?
So what was the biggest
Mhm.
change? So I mean, I feel like it's been talked about the changes in paddles and stuff, like forced kind of the change in the gameplay and tactics and stuff like that. You see all the OGs like Matt Wright or like myself or like Tyson. There's a lot more slice dinking and slice drops and stuff like that, rather than the all the top spin rolls and stuff like that, because you just couldn't do it in the
Mhm.
past. You couldn't do the two-handed dink as well. Like it wasn't possible with the technology. The ball didn't grab; it just went straight to the net.
Mhm.
So I think that has been a huge difference. The game has changed drastically, like in the past 5-6 years, and even in the past 2 years. It just keeps changing. It keeps getting faster. Attacks are being attacked from lower and lower. Like we joke with Julian how his sweet spot is right in his shoelaces. So it's possible to really attack from anywhere. Not it's not always the right choice, and it's not the best success rate for some people. but it is still possible to keep it in, which was just not, if you used to attack from below the net, you would just like instantly let it go because there's no way it's staying. There's no spin, not much spin. So that is a big part. A lot more drives. Everything is faster. Yeah, those are the main things that changed, but it's consistently getting faster and faster, and just you need to, like, if I play myself like 3, 4, 5 years ago, it's like I would beat myself so easily, but I don't think it's just because I improved that much. Yes, of course I'm training and improving, but also just the stuff you can do with the ball now is so much different.
Yeah. So one of the things that I noticed with you, just to go into strategy a little bit, is you're one of the only players who puts the finger on the handle of the paddle.
Yeah.
What did that come from? And what do you think the advantages are?
So that slowly happened. It was not even a conscious effort to do it. So I always spread my fingers pretty wide, and then it just slowly went further and further up. And not every shot I hit it like this on the grip, but now most shots I do. And I started, like, at first I'm like, why am I doing this? And like I felt like it's helping me switch grips more, or also change my wrist, basically position easier. So let's say like the pancake shot, or like even like those, I feel like my wrist is more flexible when my finger is up rather than when it's here. And also I feel like I have more stability like with my backhand dinks and some other shots as well. So for me, I feel it gives me more stability and wrist flexibility, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and you see Fed do it.
Yeah,
and Fed has probably some of the best returns.
Yeah,
in specific. And I think part of it is because he can feel the paddle a little bit better with that finger. A lot more control, like what you said, with drops or dinks and stuff like that. So
yeah, especially on the back end.
Yeah, I definitely see that. And I have noticed, I wouldn't say like over the years, but the better players always have that trigger. Like their index is always as high as possible on the handle. And I think that adds a lot more control when you hinge it, or not hinge it, when you just move it a little bit higher. Yeah,
you have like a closer feel to the ball, right? So like you see like, Callan Dawson, Rob Cassidy, and like if you try that grip, the control is really good. But obviously you lose some reach and some, some flick ability. So this is, I feel like it's kind of the best of both, where you're still holding the grip down, but you have that finger helping you in different aspects.
Yeah, for sure. And even like, I mean, even we're seeing like one of the top right side players, Gabe, he doesn't, I don't know if he does
has a
that
different
finger,
grip.
but
He's like,
he chokes up.
Yeah, he chokes up.
And that's the same thing. Like you feel like you're actually one with the paddle rather than having that disconnect. But let's go back to you. You're one of the only players from back then that's remained top tier at like the highest level for so long.
I feel like that. Yeah, there's a few. It's like Riley or Matt, Ben, obviously. But yeah, I feel like I've had a few great consistent partners that helped me a lot. But also just like we talked about, there's like you need to adapt to the different game styles and the different technologies that are coming. So always like looking to to add new things and like see where the game is going. And I think I think Ben is one of the best ones at it. Like you see him always like thinking and adding new shots, and that's why he's always like he stayed number one for so long too. It's just always thinking what works for people. And and I also, like, I remember last year I had not last year, in 2023 wasn't my best year. I went down a little bit in the rankings, and I'm like, okay, what am I missing here, and what do I need to improve, and like try to add a few different things. And I feel like I had a pretty good 2024 year, and hoping to build on that and go further.
Yeah. So we've seen like a few of the OGs, take for example like Kyle Yates or like Wes Gabrielson or something like that, where they haven't they haven't been as it was probably a choice that they made to either like opt out of the sport as a whole or, you know, do more stuff on the business side. Now, why haven't you completely focused on doing getaways or doing 360 or going all in on the business side and saying the pro career is behind me, played for 6 years already, I'm done, I'm retired?
Yeah. And I played a lot of tennis before, so it's not like, you know, a lot of people are coming into pickleball like their first, you know, pro career, and it's like, and it's amazing. It's amazing, especially at first. And the longer you do it, the like anything, the more it becomes like normal and like a normal job. But still, there is. So I think having that break between pickleball, tennis, and pickleball, there is really nothing as fun as playing like a sport. You know, for work. There's nothing is really close to it. Like I was trying to figure out what am I doing now after tennis, and like pickleball was not even remotely in the question. So I'm like, okay, I can do this, I can do that. And like none of the things I thought of or like that were a possibility were close to like playing a game for a living. So I will try to do it for as long as I can, because I think it, you know, if you love what you do, you're happier, and this is such a like fun and great opportunity that we have. So like I'm gonna do it as long as my body allows it, as long as it makes sense financially or just life. So as long as it makes sense and I want to do it, I'll keep doing it. And as part of Getaways, I try to somehow combine the two as best as I can. In terms of one, I think still like playing pro and being known as a player, it helps the company as well, because people know us better. People want to go on trips with you because they know you more. And basically, my downtime is pickleball getaways. So yeah, it makes things busier, but it's really one of like. I kind of call Pickleball Getaways like my baby, because it's like me and Ben started it from the ground up, and it's been something I've been passionate about like from day one, and I want to see it grow. So I'm not like giving up on that by any means, or on playing pro. So just trying to combine it the best I can.
Got it. Yeah. No, that makes sense. And that's exactly how I feel with Longhorn Pickleball, where it's like, it's my baby.
Yeah.
Like I want to grow it. I want to like leave some sort of legacy that's quote unquote off the pro side of the things, where it comes like off the court on the pro aspect. And that's like what I want to do. Granted, it's a nonprofit. I ain't making a bag on it, but like,
That's cool.
yeah.
That's awesome.
So how have you like, I mean, you've been in the sport for so long. How have you avoided burnout? Because I get it. Like you're playing a game for a living.
Yeah.
It's very fun, but you're also like, you know, results equal income, and like you have to train. What if you overtrain or an injury? And then Getaways helps with that. But how have you avoided it?
It's hard. I'm not gonna lie. There's times that you don't like go to a tournament and you're like, oh, I really want to play, or it's not every practice you're like dying to go practice. So it's it's still like on days like that, you're like, this is my job. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it the best I can. And that more happens when you're on the road a lot, or when there's been like, you know, 9 of 10 weeks you had a tournament, or just a lot of events in a row. So that's kind of when you feel it, or when you had a few bad weeks of tournaments and you're like not as motivated or happy about it. I definitely have times that I'm burnt out and not as happy, but I still kind of force myself to bring the best on court. Like when I go on court, I'm trying 100%. So I had, honestly, like the later part of like last year, I had like 10 weeks on the road in a row, and I actually played like my best on the last week of it, where like in Dallas at Worlds, and I was so burnt out. Like I just wanted to go home, but honestly, the crowd helped there a ton, because it was really fun and really big crowds. But also, you're like, it's basically, okay, one last push, give it everything, and like whenever you go on court, you try your hardest, and then you know you have a break, and having a break after really helped, and then you're rejuvenated, and like you know all you need is a little break, and you'll be fine after. So you know you love it, even if you were burnt out for a little bit. you basically push through it. You have to take those breaks. So there's some players like Federico, honestly, like he's played every single tournament. I have no idea how he does it. Great job, Fed. You're incredible. I don't know how you do it. But yeah, for me, you need to take some breaks. Sometimes you're not able to because of some like schedule issues, but when you can, you have to take those breaks. Have to take a little vacation, see family, whatever you need to do. Be by yourself. For me, after like long weeks, I'm just like the full day by myself. I see nobody. That helps me kind of just get back to normal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yeah, but I think it's a tough thing for everybody.
Yeah. No, definitely. And that's one of the ways that I found creating content was because it's like, yes, you're still doing pickleball, but you're doing it and you're actually like smiling.
Yeah.
You know,
Nice.
it's not like your head is down. Like you have to win. You have to win. It's just like, I'd say like it's more laid back. It's fun. Like, and you can make it fun.
Yeah. I think one of the things that helped me a lot actually is like at the lab, like when we play me, you, Zane, and whoever, it's always like we joke a lot. We like there's a lot of heckling and stuff going on, but it's always in good fun, and like every session is fun. So that has helped a lot to keep just every practice fun, and yeah, just makes it better.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. Especially like since Zane's such a fag.
Yeah, he's and he's so terrible in pickleball. I can't wait to carry him next week in Tucson. But yeah,
that's why I had to get you on before him because Zane.
Yes.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about your new signature paddle. I know like there's rumors going around that you have one. Personally, I haven't. I've seen you play with it, but I don't know if it's selling yet.
Not yet. So in a couple days.
Okay.
In a couple days. So I don't know when this is coming out. So it'll probably be out around the same time or before. I'm not sure.
Yeah. So is this your first, or did you do one?
No, this isn't the first one that goes out. I had one with Engage, but as kind of I was just playing with it. It never ended up releasing. So yeah, this is the first one.
Got it. So how has that process been? I assume it hasn't been truly from the ground up because like Yola already has a pretty good foundation of cores and technology. But how did you add like your own little bit of spice to the paddle or stuff like that?
For sure. So in general, I was playing with the Perseus 16. So that's what Ben plays with. So I'm still playing. It's still going to be the same, pretty much the exact same paddle, just a different colorway. So I asked them different colorway options, and we're going with the white and blue colorway, which is one I think looks really good, and two it's the Israeli flag colors. So I'm really excited about that. And yeah, it's by far the best looking paddle out there. Not even Yola, any paddle. So yeah, I'm really excited for it.
Yeah. Insert Pro XR ad. But that's awesome. So like I remember I was so stoked when I made like my first signature paddle.
It was really cool.
It was a more like Texas oriented paddle than true like Jack Monroe. But like the process was super fun, and honestly, it was just more of like a thing, not like a bucket list. I'll call it like a bucket list thing in pickleball to do, because I found it like I just wanted to know what it was like to make a paddle or like design a paddle, and working with a team like that. And granted, it's like I'm not going to say that. I was going to say like, granted, you'd rather negotiate more money than get paid royalties. But anyways, let's go into the business side, which is what I find the most fun in all of these podcasts. You have two big, I'd say, companies under your name. You have Pickleball Getaways and Pickleball 360. So let's start out with Pickleball Getaways. You said you started this 4 years ago?
About six, almost six.
6 years ago, you started Pickleball Getaway.
Our first trip was 2019, I believe.
And was it like, what made you come up with the idea? And this is co-founded with Ben?
Yeah, this is with Ben. So at the time I wasn't, I was just starting pickleball pretty much, and Ben was already a big name. He wasn't like number one, but he was like top three. And I was basically traveling with him and seeing him like do all these clinics, and I was kind of just tagging along trying to learn pickleball. But seeing that people are really loving the clinics and loving to see him teach. And I came from the like travel business side, like from home. I used to travel a lot. My mom works in travel. She's a travel consultant and builds trips for families, for couples. And I was just telling Ben, hey, wouldn't it be fun if we do like some clinics overseas and do some trips and see how people like it. So we did our first trip in Mexico, and Ben was right away. Yeah, let's do it. This sounds fun. Like we travel, we teach. So we went to Mexico. I wasn't actually on that trip because I was in school, but Ben went, and it went really well. We got really good reviews, and we're like, okay, let's see. Let's try something else. Like we tried Ecuador, and it was more like a travel type trip rather than the Mexico one is just like you're in a resort. And again, like it went really well. I was so stressed before that trip. I hope all our clients are not seeing this. No, because it's our first trip. It was very busy, like a lot of different moving parts, and it's the first time that we do it. And we had at that point we had like 16 people on that trip. Like the Mexico ones were more people, but the travel one, it's also harder to travel with more people. And it's still one of my favorite trips, if not like top two favorite trips. It was amazing. And after those two, we were like, okay, we have something good here, and we should really build on it. And yeah, that's how it started.
So with everything you just said, it seems like, so you grabbed 16 people for the first one. Is that the typical number that you aim for?
So on our travel ones, like Ecuador, or like we don't have Ecuador at the moment, but we have like Portugal, Spain, Croatia, Slovenia. So those are more the travel ones. And now we're doing them 32 people. So it depends how many people we can accommodate court-wise and like just like travel wise. So again, the travel ones we cap at 32 because it's just harder to travel with more people. Like when you go to different spots and you go see different cities every day. Like in Mexico, for example, we have 80 people. Like
Wow.
Costa Rica is 64. But we split it into two groups for each place, where we go to Europe or we go to wherever, not in Europe. When we go to all the other places like Costa Rica or Mexico, we split it to two groups. So let's say Costa Rica is 32 and 32, and we have 6-7 coaches, and like the ratio is usually like 1 to 5 or 6. So we have really good ratio for our clients. So it's very everybody's always very happy with the amount of like individual attention they're getting. So it sounds like, oh, such a big trip, but we also bring a lot of coaches and very good coaches.
Got it.
So yeah, so I guess it depends on the location.
So from a getaways perspective, as well as from all of the people signing up for this perspective, is it more of do you market it, or is it sold as more of a fun vacation trip or a instructional get better on the court 8 hours a day type trip?
Both. So instructional, it's not 8 hours a day instructional. It's an hour and a half or 2, and then we do stuff in the afternoons. That is more like more competitive, or king of the court or up and down the river and stuff like that for the afternoon, or open play. So you can play 8 hours if you want. The instructional part is between an hour and a half and 2, depending on where you are. But you can get a lot of pickleball, and you play a bunch with the pros as well. So at the end of the week, you're getting a crazy amount of pickleball if you want. Or if you just want to play 2 hours a day, you play in the clinics in the morning, you enjoy the beach in the afternoon, you go eat, you go drink, you see the location that you're at. So you can choose whichever you want.
Got it. So it's quite flexible. Like you can choose whether to opt in or out of certain sessions.
Exactly.
That's cool. And yeah, no, I remember like on your guys' website, or like even just I've seen pictures of you like riding elephants and shit like that.
That is not from the elephant. It was from a private trip, but yeah.
Okay.
But we do have very cool trips and
looks
tours.
Sick.
It's so much fun. Like there's always the pros on our trip always like want to come back. Like it's because like it's a fun atmosphere and stuff, but just like it's always super fun. The locations are always fun. The tours are always fun. The people, we try to get fun people. So like for our pros, but for our clients, so they're having fun and not just improving at pickleball, but also improving at pickleball.
So is one of Getaway's biggest moats your arsenal of pros that you have on the trips? Because I feel like a lot of we can mention a bunch of pros you have.
Yeah.
Michelle Esquivel, Rob Cassidy, you even have Preston Bias, but is that like part of part of what makes your getaways more premium or more fun? Because if you had like a country club coach come out there, it'd be a little bit different of an atmosphere.
Yeah, for sure. I think the big, I would say differentiator. Sorry, English is still
second language.
Still working on it. Is the pros, and also that. So I think two things. One is the pros. I go on a bunch of trips. Ben goes on a bunch of trips. Collin goes sometimes. We bring other pro friends that go. Hopefully, you'll join us on a trip one day. Anybody wants a trip with Jack?
Yeah.
No?
Give me
Okay.
the feeling.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, Rob, Michelle, Preston, we have Brian Ashworth, who's an OG. He was at that Triple Crown.
Yeah.
And we have many others. Like I think like that is a huge part of Getaways. We have amazing coaches. They're amazing coaches, but also people, and they're very fun. So that is one of the hardest things. Like before every trip, just making sure the roster is like really good, and that's one thing that we have. It has to be in a certain level, like a minimum to for us to do a trip.
Got it. Yeah.
And the second thing I think is just making sure everything runs smoothly. I wouldn't say it's extremely like there's just a lot of things that can go wrong. It's not rocket science, but you have to be very detail oriented and think about a lot of different scenarios. And there's making sure things are smooth is huge for the business.
So what's the majority of the work that goes into Getaways? Is it trying to amass 32 people that are prepaid and then just house them, set everything up? Because I assume that's going to be a nuisance, and then you have to get passports involved, or I don't know how that works.
Mm-hmm.
What's the majority of the admin work?
Yeah. So passport and stuff is on the clients to like make sure they have their passport, they have their flights. But from the moment they land until they fly back, that's where we just make sure we take care of them, and like their transportation, their hotels, their pickleball, their everything. So yes, during the trip is making sure they're very happy with anything that's going on. So you have 80 people. We always have one or two coordinator for each trip, just in charge of taking care of people and making sure they're happy, because there's always something. Like you're in a different country, in a different resorts, and things are run. They have other things going on, so we want to make sure our clients are taken care of with their rooms, with anything. And there's always stuff. So that is definitely takes a lot of time. And yeah, also preparing the trip, that once you're there, everything is set and it'll be easier. So if you just do everything last minute there, it's you'll run into a lot of issues. So everybody has different preferences when whatever it is, rooms or shuttles, or like making sure you follow their flights, because flight changes and stuff like that. So there's a lot of or they have a lot of questions because it's their first trip, or because they're not sure about this or this country. So there's a lot of different questions and things. So customer service is super important.
Got it.
And just making sure everything is ready and set 100%, so there's no issues once you're there.
Got it. And so with these bigger trips, like how many people are involved? As in, like, do you have it's 5 pros, 2 assistants? Yeah. Do you hire VAs to help, or like?
So during the trips, it's like the Europe ones we have 4 to 5, and the Mexico ones we have like 7 and sometimes 8 people that go. But this is during the trip. So obviously we have a lot of help during the trip. But also it's before. It's So it's me, it's Ben, it's one of Ben's sisters. It works for us full time. She's the one that handles a lot of things and drives and helps a lot with the company. Georgia, his sister, Hannah goes on a bunch of trips. My mom is a huge part, a huge help. I mean, like I said, we started the company kind of because of that connection I had to travel and business. So she helps us with a lot of finding a lot of locations and contacting a lot of people. So she's a huge help. We have our customer service person that helps us. So there's a few different people that help. Um, yeah, it's definitely a group effort and a lot of work.
So this about to be a crazy question. Did your economics degree help when you started Getaways?
So I did economics and entrepreneurship. So I would say the entrepreneurship part helped a little bit. So it did give me some ideas. It did help me with a little bit. I remember even like just learning Excel and school and stuff helped just because you know how to do different things there, and it's helpful. Um, I wouldn't say it was a massive help. I would say it helped me a little bit, like to think outside the box for marketing stuff or just like things we need to do. But I kind of started it after 6 months of school, pretty much, or even less. So it's not like I had a lot of experience like through school with it. So it helped me a little bit, but not. I definitely learned more while trying to grow the business.
Got it. Yeah. And it seems like Getaways, like one of the best things about it is it doesn't compete on prices because you guys have a very specific moat. But in general, the getaway space is becoming a little bit more saturated. Like we've seen
Mm-hmm.
Sandals get involved, a few others. Where do you see, do you see getaways becoming more and more common, more and more frequent, or how do you see the space evolving?
Yeah, I think it'll keep growing. I mean, people love the concept of traveling and playing a sport where you travel to, kind of like combining your passion with traveling. Because you love playing pickleball, so when you go on vacation, why don't like do your hobby and what you
Yeah,
love
yeah, yeah.
and learn in the process too. So I feel like that specific thing has been growing in different sports. I remember like with cycling and running and even tennis. So that's also how we came to start Getaways. So I think it'll keep growing. There's lots of opportunities in it. It's as more pickleball players, start playing. Like how many? I don't know what is the number right now, but anyway, it just keeps growing so fast. So I think there'll definitely be more and more getaways out there.
Yeah, makes sense. Like, I mean, I want to go on a getaway already.
Yeah, would love to have you.
So you talked about a few of the bottlenecks with just the getaways in general, the space in general. How do you plan to scale it?
Yeah, so we always want to do more and more trips. And we're thinking we have a couple of different ideas how to do different style of trips as well. And I'm not gonna lie, it's been difficult because we're touring all over, so it's hard for us to expand in different ways at the moment. But we have quite a few different like ideas how to expand. At the moment, we're focusing on making sure our product is stays up to par with how it's been until now, and adding more different locations and adding more trips. And then we'll go into the different ideas that we have as well. Um, so yeah, it's always a balance for us how to keep the level high, but also expand and have more trips, because the more trips you have, the harder it is to control all of them. So you need to bring on very good people to join the company and join the coaching roster. So it is tough. It's like, oh, I'm just gonna do 20 more trips, but they're not gonna be as good if you don't pay as much attention to each one of them.
So would you rather have more people per trip or more trips?
It's a good question. I think more people per trips. Like we could do more, but I think then you lose a little bit of the person to person there. Like if I go to a trip where there's too many people, I don't get as much like personal attention with each client.
Got it.
So
Yeah.
I don't think we'll make each trip bigger. I feel like we found a sweet spot with the different locations we're at. That it's like we get to know every single person there. We know, like they're always like amazed at the end that we know their name and like what they're like how what they're they were struggling most with. I remember Ben used to do it, like go one by one to like each one and tell them, Susan, your biggest thing that I told you was like your foreign volley or whatever. Like each
can't
one,
put a ball away. Your overhead sucks. Fucking backhand blows. Yeah.
That would be your part to tell them what they tell them that way.
Also, this video is not brought to you by Chipotle, but if you want to sponsor it, please reach out to me on my email down below. Keep going.
I have no idea what I was saying right now. I was just
Ben, one by one. We were talking about that. Fuck. I'm just like, bro, I eat Chipotle every day. I want some fucking Chipotle sponsorship. Please, bro.
Come on, help this guy out. Chipotle. He just took me there. So
it even matches the aesthetic.
Yeah, he's promoting you guys. He's sending people like locations of all your spots. He really deserves it.
Please. Well, that was one of your businesses. That one's arguably probably the bigger portion of your time.
For sure.
Now let's talk a little bit about Pickleball 360, your second baby.
Yes. So Pickleball 360, Ben, Collin, and I started in during COVID. So we had extra time, and we're like, what is still like needed in the sport, especially during COVID when people are at home and can't get access to like individual coaching and stuff. And like, okay, we'll do videos online and subscription based. So we started. I think we started with like 50 or 100 videos, and then kept building on that. And now the library has over 250 videos. And for us, it has been challenging to like we haven't promoted it as much like at all, and it is something that we want to push further. We've been very busy with our playing, with our tours. It is a full-time
reasonable excuse.
It didn't used to be a full-time job playing pickleball professionally, but it is now. So and we have our Pickleball Getaways. Ben and Collin have a couple other businesses of their own. So we've definitely been busy, but we kept making sure the product is really good, and now we want to promote it more and make sure it's out to more people and more people know about it.
Mm-hmm. So where do you plan on promoting it?
So we need a really good person to market it and take it further, because it is harder for us to do it right now. So, and this is in that market, it is something that we need a little bit more help with. So we are aware of that, and we're trying to find the right person to help us push it.
Mm-hmm. Got it. Yeah.
So I feel like with Getaways, we know what to do, where to market, and how to go about it. And this is a kind of a different platform, and also we have a little bit less time for it to do it ourselves, which is why we need to find the right person to help us with that.
It makes sense, because like you guys have such a good product with Pickleball 360.
Yes.
But nobody, like, you don't have the eyeballs for it yet.
Yes, no, for sure. We haven't pushed it much, and we have a lot of ideas how to push it. Like, so we have a deal with Lifetime, and they're using our videos, and we can publicize it to different companies like that, and to private people as well, through different clubs that we have, that we know, or the different businesses that we have, and different instructors that we know, coaches, and there's endless ways to advertise it. So your question, how and where, like there's a lot of different ways to do it, and we do know in general how to do it. Just we lack the time to do it at the moment.
Yeah, makes sense. Like I remember probably like 2 years ago when I was starting out, someone had an account, and so I like looked at it, and I looked at specifically, I wanted to learn like the correct mechanics for a two-handed backhand, and I think it was Ben and Collin dinking, and literally it was like 2 minutes of like just full-blown nuance. Like it was very, very good.
They're the best coaches I've seen. Like they're very, as you know, they're very methodical, and they know how to hit every shot, and they explain it super well. So yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And so how do you plan on just keeping the current library that you have or updating it consistently?
No, for sure, updating consistently. Some stuff like we have from 2020, and it's different paddles, different thoughts. The game has evolved a lot as we talked previously. So we keep updating it. We have we a week or two we have a new video. Like we said, we started with 50 or 100, and now it's 250, and it keeps growing. So
Mhm.
definitely keep updating the library for
Mhm.
sure.
Makes sense. And for every single one of these projects, you've leveraged your brand on the pro side to really help propel each company you started.
Yeah, for sure. I think it definitely helps people know you. People, oh, let's see what Dekel's doing. Or if Dekel and Ben are promoting this, then maybe there's something behind it. If they're fans, they'll watch it. And you also have you meet a lot of different people. That's a big part in the business in pickleball. You meet so many people. The relationships that you have, they help you a ton. So it's a small world. You never know how. You'll meet somebody in the future, or which way you'll be working with them. It's the same when we are like playing. So like we're practicing a lot. You never know if like we'll partner in the future, or you're playing against people on the tour all the time, and most likely you'll play with them at some point if it's on a team or in the tour. So
Yep.
it's keeping relationships good, and just being good and nice to people, and
Yeah.
nurturing those relationships is huge.
That's actually one of the best points that you've said. I was talking with Tanner Pickleball yesterday, if you're familiar.
Yeah, yeah,
And he was like, I don't even
yeah.
care about the money that my content is bringing in. I'm just know it'll reach the right people one day, and then that will provide me with some sort of bigger deal or bigger or like larger end goal.
hmm
And so he's like the same thing. It's like just trying to build a network. It's not even worrying about the current money that you're bringing
Yeah,
in. It's just trying to expand your network.
yeah, and he's done amazing. He's got a huge following now, and all his videos are doing very well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Hey
it's awesome to
guys.
see.
Sorry. Tanner, I love you. I love you, Tanner. Um, but yeah, for any like fellow pros or anyone with notoriety in the sport, how do you like what advice would you give to them on how to leverage their brand to build something bigger?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different opportunities in pickleball. A lot of different ways to do business, whether it's coaching or companies, or working for one of the companies in pickleball. I do think what we just talked about, the relationships and finding good people and being with them, is massive, because you'll be approached by a lot of different people, and you need to kind of learn how to judge who has the right intentions and who is a better person to do business with. And I think that is key. And of course, you'll get burned sometimes, and that's how you learn. But having good relationships with good people, that can only lead to good things.
Yeah, yeah. And that's honestly, one of my best things about that I love most about Urban Pickleball is the club is it's obviously it's exclusive, but it's a very large community and everybody in here has a crazy background or like some sort
Yeah,
of unique story about how they got here. And honestly, this is one of like the best clubs. As you can see by the skyline,
it's
it's like
amazing here.
it
This is
really
awesome.
is cool. And we're shaded because you
Yeah,
have all these buildings. It's literally like
perfect.
2 o'clock
Yeah.
and we're like shaded already. It's amazing.
Yeah, Austin
But
is a great place for
yeah.
this too. It's
hmm So looking ahead in the sport of pickleball regarding anything in the sport of pickleball, do you see any emerging trends or opportunities that you're excited to take on?
uh at the moment, I don't have plans for anything new. Just because it's already a bit too much of a full plate. I do want to you know keep growing my personal game in the tour, and going as far as possible with that, and for as long as possible. So recently that has been, training a lot more, and a lot more physical training and off-court training and recovery. Um, and then getaways would be my off-court stuff, or like business, for the business side, and obviously pickleball 360 as well. So to keep growing those, and after that, we'll see. There's so many opportunities in pickleball all the time, so it's hard to like, oh, I want to do this right now, but then like a year or two from now, everything changes again, and
You're right. More
opportunities come. Anybody who is thinking about getting into pickleball, you should. It's just like it's a great investment. At first you might not know where to go, but you'll get so many opportunities in different ways.
No, you're right. Like there's a bunch. I mean, I'm sure paddle brands have given like both of us like opportunities for equity, facilities.
Yeah, facilities are huge right now. Like how many courts are opening up. Yeah.
And even some more creative stuff. So for example, like I've been really, really trying to spend a lot of time trying to maximize my use of AI with my content without it taking away from my personality or my current, my current content performance. Like I don't want to, I don't want to lose my touch on the video because AI is taking over. So I'm using a bunch of different platforms in that regard to try and, just like streamline everything. Maybe help with some captions, but still make sure to look over it and add what I want to include. Or like, for example, it's helping me because I've been getting more and more into YouTube, and I've found at least 4 different softwares that help with different things in order to streamline and enhance, just my YouTube creation.
That's very cool.
So I've thought like one day, even like 2 years down the road, if I could find a way to scan my body on this court and then just find a way to use AI to like write descriptions on like how to hit a backhand drop, then it would be an AI me talking about it. And I could just crank out those videos.
That'd be sick.
And it's like a 1-to-1 with me. But yeah, just like stuff like that, I'm always keeping an eye out for.
That's awesome. I mean, you're doing an amazing job with all your content. Always see you doing stupid ambidextrous stuff. or the silly shots that you hit winners on us and then post it, which we're always so happy about.
No. It's both sides of it though. I'd say
no, it's fine. No. It's all in good fun, and you post the stuff that you get shit on, so it's all good.
Yeah. Well, as always, thank you for joining me on the pod. It's been a blast, and thank you all for watching. This has been amazing. Make sure to subscribe to Dekel Bar's YouTube. Psyche, he doesn't have one. Follow him on Instagram. Make sure to look up Getaways, Pickleball Getaways in specific. It really is a blast. I haven't heard any bad thing about it from a pro or somebody who went. And make sure to give Dekel Bar a follow.